When it comes to ruler work, few people can pass Judy Madsen. She is my absolute hero. Ruler work has the ability of taking something very plain and turning it into something very, very special. And that's what we're going to try to learn today. There's a lot of confusion over the rulers that have to be used when you're quilting. It's not really a ruler like you use to cut your fabric with or to measure with. It's really a template that's placed against the foot of your machine to help you stitch along. You can make fancy designs or you can just do straight lines, and it's a lot thicker than your standard ruler. It's twice as thick to prevent it from going under the foot of your machine. So if I buy a template ruler, is that all I'll need? That's a question I get a lot. No, actually, you're going to need a ruler foot. See the difference between a standard free motion foot and a ruler foot? The ruler foot is much higher, preventing the ruler from going under the foot. Now, if you have a zipper foot, like what's showing on the right on this photograph, you might get away with that with ruler work because the side of the foot is high and it will ride along the ruler. If you don't have a zipper foot like that or a ruler foot, you can do this exercise with your walking foot or your regular free motion foot without the use of rulers. Directions for marking your fabric for this lesson are in your lesson plan. So to do this exercise without rulers, you're going to stitch along all the straight lines with the exception of the vertical and horizontal center lines. The next thing you will do is circles, and that's coming up next. Now, I would suggest you draw a line of circles and practice this a little bit if you've not done them before. We're going to start out doing the first circle. We're going to swing around till we hit the second circle, and we're going to keep switching between counterclockwise, which is where we're going now. We're going to go around that, continue over top of the previous stitches till you hit the next circle. Now we're going to go clockwise. Continue over those stitches once you get to the circle completed till you get to the next circle. Now we're going to go counterclockwise, go around, complete the circle, keep going till you get to the next circle, just traveling over those stitches. This is not backtracking, this is just tracing over where you just were. So we're going counterclockwise, we finish the circle, keep going till you get to the next one. Now we're going to go counterclockwise, finish the circle, keep going till you get to the next circle. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction, keep going, get to the next circle, and now we're going to go counterclockwise to finish it off. So if you're not familiar with those, keep practicing for a while. Now this is just a series of straight lines. You can space them apart as far as you want. Mine are approximately 1/4 of an inch, maybe slightly less. Just kind of jog over till you get to the next line. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to follow the line. You just want to keep them going straight up and down. You're going to have a tendency, because they're in a V, that you're going to want to try to form those into a V also. But you want to keep your fabric going straight up and down. When you get to that point, you should still be having a straight up and down line there. You just keep going back and forth. It's very relaxing doing this stitch. You don't have very far to travel, so you really don't need to use the rulers. You can kind of gauge your distance between the stitches by the width of your foot. And you just continue on with that until you finish up the spaces. Now this is just a reminder when you're using a ruler. Look where the needle is striking in the middle of that hopping foot or the ruler foot. It's 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the foot. So if you want to stitch right on the line, you have to keep your foot 1/4 of an inch away, just like I'm showing in this filming. If your ruler is shorter like mine, just slide it down to finish up the line. But remember, keep it 1/4 of an inch away. Okay, we're going to just hop over there. We're going to get to that line. This time we can put our ruler foot, line it up right on the stitching that we just did. That will guarantee us 1/4 of an inch or put us right on that marked line. This time we're going to go all the way across to the other side. So we have both diagonal lines completed. Now we're going to do another 1/4 of an inch. We're going to go up following with our ruler right on our stitching line. And uh-oh, we have a little loop there in our thread. And we'll come back later and take care of that. And let's come back 1/4 of an inch down the other side, keeping our ruler right on our line of stitching. So our stitching is 1/4 of an inch away. Time to go to the toolbox and our ever-famous unquilter and take those stitches out and redo them. Okay, they're gone. Let's restitch that line and move on. For the sake of time, we've sped up the video a little bit. It's pretty much the same thing that we've been doing. It's just that 1/4 of an inch away from the diagonal lines. So now we have triple diagonal lines down the center of our block. We're now ready to move outward to make the area that we're going to put the circles in, and that needs to be 1 inch away from the diagonal line. If we look at our ruler, there's a line right there. There's actually 3/4 of an inch away from the edge of our ruler. However, if you add that 1/4 of an inch away from the needle, we keep that 3/4 inch line on the center line. That's going to give us 1 inch away from the original diagonal line that we drew and that we stitched. We're going to stitch that down to our stopping point. Turn around again, keep that 3/4 inch mark on the center diagonal line. Now we need to stitch 1/4 of an inch away from that line towards the inner part of that V. So that means that we can put the edge of our foot right along that stitching line to get our 1/4 of an inch. So we're just going to stitch down to the center mark, stop, and come back up the other end. Now we're just going to use an outside stitch in the ditch technique to get from one quadrant to the other. We're now ready to again put our ruler 3/4 inch mark against our original diagonal line. Make the first V, move in a little bit, ruler against the stitch line, that gives us 1/4 inch. And we're going to put the ruler along the ditch, stitch around till we get to the next quadrant, and continue stitching in that manner. Always lining the 3/4 inch line up on the original diagonal line. Moving over, doing the 1/4 inch inside of that V. Go down to the next quadrant in the exact same manner to finish it up. So there's our stitching so far, and it actually looks good on its own. We could stop now, but no, we'll keep going. Don't forget, you didn't have to do all that other marking, but now you need to go back to step 2 to fill in your circles. Okay, we're ready to stitch our circles. We have a 1/2 circle there that we'll start out with. Then we'll go into a counterclockwise. Now we're going to switch to clockwise, keep going around that circle till we get to the next circle. And once again, I'm not a very good camera person. I'll move that hand, there we go. Counterclockwise, into a clockwise, into a counterclockwise, and let's finish off the other 1/2 circle. And after it's all done, there you go. Okay, now we're ready to begin that relaxing back and forth. I've sped this up again for the sake of brevity, but we're just stitching back and forth and back and forth. The most important thing to remember is to keep your fabric straight up and down so that your lines are not laying down. You'll be tempted to try to follow the V, but you want them straight up and down. And just continue to stitch in like manner. When you get done with that part of the V, just walk right on over to the top part. Again, straight up and down. This is just like our practice. 1/4 inch away or less. They don't have to be real tight. You can use your ruler to get from one point to the next. And continue until you have them all filled in. So there you have our completed block. If you want more poof, just add a thin layer of poly batting on top or a wool bat on top, and those circles will really puff up. It's a really nice texture. I hope you enjoyed this.